sexy back. We're bringing sexy back.
Let's get it started. Harder, won't you give it up?
Hello, beautiful lady. Yes, I am talking to you. It is Thursday, and you know what goes down here on Thursday. Wife Life with Dr. Gail goes down here on Thursday. So do me a favor. Make sure you're hitting the subscribe button and the little bell right next to it so you'll know when I go live. And so tonight I want to talk to you about 5 insecurities that your husband might have but won't talk about. And we as women have so many insecurities. You know, we have insecurities about if we're looking older, if we're gaining weight, if we are thin enough, if our boobs are big enough, if our behinds are big enough, if our waist is small enough. We have so many insecurities, especially with all the media that we face every single day. We're just being inundated. The difference between women and most men is that we will talk about it. We will get on the phone with our girlfriends and we will talk about, yes, I'm feeling this way, or how did you lose your stomach after you had a baby, or are you going to have plastic surgery? We have all of these conversations, but men don't have those conversations. But they also face self-esteem things. They face the media that's telling them they need to be buffed, they need to not lose their hair. All of those things that we do as women, they face as well. So tonight, I just want to talk about 5 things that your husband might be dealing with and he won't talk about. The first thing is not having the right body, right? Because a lot of times men think that, they have to have a certain type of body for you to stay attracted to them. The 6-pack, the big arms, all of those things are nice. But we also know as we age, some of those things are going to fade. And you need to reassure your husband that his body is good enough, that he's still sexy, and that he's still appealing to you. Now, if he's not, if he's gotten out of shape and if his stomach is beginning to lap over his belt, don't do to him what you wouldn't want done to you. Encourage him to eat better. Encourage him to get moving. Encourage him to start doing some sit-ups and some things to get him back to a place where he's confident with his body. Number 2, being seen as a weak man, being seen that he's not man enough to protect you. And that is a place where he needs to be able to be vulnerable with you. He needs to let you know that he is strong. He needs to know that you understand when he's not being so forceful, that he's not being weak. He's just seeing it from a different perspective. Because we all like our knight in shining armor. We all like our hero, right? But he also needs to be able to be vulnerable with you as well, right? Number 3, being seen as a coward. Being seen as a coward is a big thing. And sometimes we as women put so much pressure on our spouses. We want them to respond and to react and to do what we want them to do. And that is not his job all the time. He needs, again, to be able to say, I'm afraid of this. I don't know how to handle this. And you not make him feel that he's less than being a man and being the head of your household. That's a hard one for us as women because, again, we like for men to come in and to rescue us. That's what we see on the television. That's what's portrayed in all of these storybook, fairy tale kind of things. But your spouse needs to know that he can say, I'm afraid. I don't have the answer. But I'm going to figure it out, and you not look at him as less than your hero, your provider, your coverer. All of those things are so important to a man. And number 4, he's afraid that he might not be pleasing you 100% in bed. He's not going to ever say that, but when you're engaging in amazing sex, you need to tell your spouse, this feels good to me. You're hitting me in the right places. You're making me feel like this, because they need to know that they still are good to you in the bedroom. And some of us have become so complacent that we take that for granted, that they already know that they're doing what we want them to do. And if he's not giving you what you need, have a conversation with him outside the bedroom and say, honey, remember you used to do this to me and that makes me feel this way. Honey, can you do more of this? And that brings me more pleasure. Have these conversations because he wants to please you 100% in the bedroom. And number 5, just not being seen as good enough. We as women do a great job of telling our spouses all the things that they need to be doing for us, what they haven't done for us. We can tick off 1,000 things. And that was me. That's the reason why I started the 30-day challenge of gratitude. 30 days of gratitude, because when Gil, I could tick off 1,000 things that he was doing wrong. But when I was asked, what does Gil do right? I had to think about it. And that led me on a journey to say, if I can find all of these things wrong, surely he's doing something right. And so I admonish you to find good things to say to your spouse, things that's going to lift him up. I thank you so much for going to work every day. I thank you so much for being a great father. I thank you so much for being my life partner. Thank you so much for, taking out the trash. Whatever that is, find it, right? And I admonish you to take my free 30 days of gratitude challenge, right? And it will just help you every single day find something that your spouse is doing right, because they need to be praised just as much as we tear them down. And I know as women, it is not we don't think we're tearing them down, but we can. And words hurt. They harbor them. They don't speak a lot like we speak. When we're upset, we just spew. A lot of them, they just stew, right? And we need to really be cautious of that. And so I hope that these 5 insecurities that I have brought to the forefront gives you something to think about and gives you something to work on to help build your spouse up and not tear them down. Again, I love you to pieces. Thank you so much for joining me tonight here on Wife Life with Dr. Gail. I will see you next Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have an amazing, amazing night.
We're bringing sexy back. We're bringing sexy back.
Let's get it started. Harder, won't you give it up? What you want, body, we're going.